What's going on, everybody? It's your pal Will Andy, and I'm here previewing the Orange Bowl between Notre Dame and Penn State with the recap of the Georgia game with some transfer portal and high school recruiting news. Man, I'm excited for this game against the Nittany Lions. It's going to be at Hard Rock Thursday night. But before the Orange Bowl, the Irish had to go through the Sugar Bowl and were able to defeat the Georgia Bulldogs 23-10. And they're finally getting over that major bowl hurdle that they had since the 93 season. And this was just another beautiful performance by Al Golden's defense, completely dominating the UGA offense. I mean, they had that one drive at the beginning where the Irish were able to force the fumble. And then UGA, they never really threatened besides that one miscommunication that Drake Bowen had. And the offense, although it wasn't elite, it was able to make plays when they needed to give the defense their rest. And was able to get 3 field goals. And they could have gotten more if they weren't just trying to run the clock out at the end of the game. But the game was won during that middle 8, as they call it, the last 4 minutes of the first half. In the first 4 minutes of the second half. As RJ Oben, as Notre Dame, they got the field goal and then they kicked off with not too much time left. I think it was about 30 seconds. And Gunnar Stockton, the Georgia quarterback, immediately dropped back to pass. But RJ Oben was able to knock the ball out, and Julia Tuiamaka got it, and then Riley Leonard threw an immediate. It was just a great pass, and also a great catch by Bo Collins for the touchdown. And then, of course, at the half, Jaden Harrison took the kickoff all the way to the house for the touchdown. And, of course, the other great moment in this game was when the Irish, they looked like they were going to punt, and then they subbed on the offense to look like they were going for it on 4th down. And Marcus was really just trying to get Kirby to burn a timeout. But they ended up jumping offside. And then Georgia never got the ball back as the Irish were able to finish the game off with a 2-score victory over Georgia and to give Marcus Freeman his first huge win. And this is a bigger win than Kelly ever had at Notre Dame. So Marcus Freeman already surpassed Kelly in that stat. Of course, the LSU fans are saying, well, Kelly got to a title game and 2 more Final Fours. So obviously Marcus is going to have to keep winning to truly shut up the LSU fans. But Kelly over there at LSU, he ain't doing well. This could be his last season, so that would officially be victory for the Irish faithful over LSU if Kelly got fired. Or if Marcus is able to, of course, win a championship and continue his success from this season. But over to Penn State, looking at the Nittany Lions season, I thought there was a chance WVU could beat them in Morgantown, but that game just wasn't competitive. Garrett Green played awful for the Mountaineers. But then the Bowling Green win, they almost had an NIU situation, but they were able to beat Bowling Green, so credit to them for not falling into that trap. And, of course, beat Kent State, who was the worst probably the worst FBS team this season. I think they are. I don't know if they might have won one game. And then that big night game against Illinois, who had a great season for their standards in Champaign, but their offense was not able to get it going. And then, of course, they beat UCLA, they were very marginal at best this season. And then USC, as we'll get to what the Trojans had success against the Nittany Lions, we'll talk about that a bit, but USC very well could have won that game, as they also almost took the Irish to the brink as well. But I feel like the Trojans they were so close to knocking off the Nittany Lions and taking Penn State out of the playoffs for good. I don't think they would have made the playoffs unless they won the Big Ten or, of course, beat Ohio State. And then they went to Camp Randall and beat probably the worst Wisconsin team since 95. I think they're the first Wisconsin team to miss a bowl game since 95. I could be wrong. They easily took care of them. And then, of course, they hosted Ohio State. Of course, there's no shame losing to Ohio State, especially this Ohio State team, the way they're playing now. But the fact that they weren't able to score an offensive touchdown at home, it's a little troubling. But I'm really not going to give them any flack the way Ohio State's playing now. And then they, of course, dominated the Huskies, who went 6-6. I think 6-7. I think they lost to Louisville. And then they went to Purdue and won. I mean, everyone's beating Purdue. And then this Minnesota game, credit to Franklin for the coaching move here. He went for a fake punt that kind of iced the game for them over the Gophers. But if that didn't work, man, they could have lost to Minnesota too. So they snuck by the Gophers. And then they beat up on a horrible Maryland team. And then they put up a valiant effort against Oregon, losing by 8. So not too much shame in that loss. And of course, SMU self-destructed, and they able to beat Boise State, who was all right. I mean, they were better than a lot of. They definitely weren't the worst. They definitely played a lot better than SMU did, even though the score isn't that much different. But that was competitive for, I believe, 3 quarters. That's the playoff game I kind of remember the least. I think it was competitive for about 3 quarters. And then, of course, the Irish. Of course, we don't have to talk about this too much, but of course the A&M win, the NIU loss, the Purdue demolition. That Louisville win really springboarded the season. As I should change the formatting a bit, but it's okay. You guys know. I went over the Irish schedule last week. But of course, talk about the IU win too. Completely controlled the IU offense. They scored 14 points in garbage time to make it look more respectable. And here we go. The keys to victory. What USC did well against Penn State was they were able to have more explosive runs with Woody Marks, who had a great season for SC. Hopefully he does all right in the NFL after getting it. I felt bad for him. He got injured in the Irish game. But he had some big runs. And really, they haven't faced a running back as good, as him, or at least the same style. I know the Buckeye backs were decent too, but if we could get some Jeremiah Love and J.D. Price explosive runs against Penn State, that would really be a key to success. Of course, Notre Dame can have, especially like at least one 98-yard, or like maybe not 98, but at least one like 40-plus yard run. That would just make the Irish offensives have way more success. And then, of course, the red zone game as well. Penn State's one of the best defenses of not even getting them to the red zone. So and the Irish have been good at catching it. So if the Irish can get into the red zone, that would be a huge key to success. And then, of course, Penn State on their side, they have their key of running backs are just as good as the Irish's. So the Irish will have to contain the run like they did against Georgia. That running offense could not do anything. So obviously, I doubt Penn State will be as bad. Have more success than Georgia, but just can't have that much success. And then, of course, I think I typed about Tyler Warren twice, but just can't let Tyler Warren take over the game. He'll have his, but you can't let him have a huge game. And then, of course, how's Jeremiah Love? Is he going to be close to playing at his best? And Abdul Carter for Penn State, who's very well probably going to be the best player on the field. how healthy will they be? Will they be able to do damage in this one? And then how about some counter runs? Penn State, they're very aggressive. They have a very aggressive defense. They want those big negative plays. So if the Irish could have a little misdirection, that could be a big key to success. And then, of course, the special teams battle must be won again, like it was against Georgia. Let's have Mitch Cheater making those field goals, and then a punt block or a big punt return or a kick return would be a huge boost for either team and their chances to win. And then some portal news. The Irish were able to add Ty Washington from Arkansas. This guy, I don't know how big of a player he's going to be with Cooper Flanagan probably being the main tight end. But I'm sure he'll at least get some blocking in, maybe some catches in it as well. And then Will Pauling from Wisconsin probably won't be had a rough year. I mean, with Tyler Van Dyke going down at the beginning of the year, kind of put a big damper into his season. But he was coached by Mike Brown, so he should have at least more success than he did last season. But will he be a constant contributor? We'll see about that. And then, of course, Malachi Fields is the biggest addition from the portal. The third-team All-ACC player. He'll play the boundary, which I believe is what Bo Collins did this year. And this guy's he looks significantly better than any Irish receiver since Chase Claypool and Miles Boykin. Hopefully can at least be as good as Kevin Austin. He had a good year in 2021. And is playing for the Falcons this season the Saints. He played for the Saints this season, had some success. But obviously hoping he could be good as Miles Boykin or Chase Claypool, two of the better Irish receivers the past few years. And then Ben Nichols, class of 2026 offensive tackle. He's a big guy, man. He's a big guy. 6'5", 315. Obviously, he's a little raw. Can hopefully get a little more muscular. But he chose the Irish over Alabama, Tennessee, Penn State, and Wisconsin. So those are some big schools, of course. But yeah, one more thing about the game is that Marcus Freeman and, of course, James Franklin are both African American, as Marcus is also of Asian descent. And it's just cool to see the sport that's been dominated by white guys have a little diversity in there at the coaching ranks for such a big game. So that is fun to see. But you guys put your score predictions down below, as you guys can watch my show with Jeffrey. We should be recording tonight, our stream. You'll see my score there. And yeah, just such an exciting ride for the Irish. Hopefully keeps going to the championship. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.